Hey guys, we are live. This is Jennifer with the Shooter's Mindset, and we are here with episode 398. We have our co-hosts here tonight. Corey, how's it going?
Really good. Shot a lot of guns this weekend.
Not even just, it's good. It's really good.
Yep, like 600 rounds. I feel good.
That's awesome. And you lost an hour's sleep and you didn't care.
No, we have like 40 people for setups.
That's awesome. All right, and we got Greg. How's it going, Greg?
I'm still struggling from that hour lost Sunday night.
Me too. I like it being light later, but I don't like getting up earlier. So it's a mixed bag there. So our guest of the hour tonight is our good friend, Tommy Goodson. How's it going, Tommy?
It is going good. Hello. And I feel you on the hour lost because it'll take me a couple of days to recover from that as well. So
yeah, I feel like I need a whole nother weekend to just like get it out of my system and then I'll be straight. But this week yeah, it's just not working. I'm tired when I come home. I want to take a nap and then I can't go to bed early. And then, yeah, it's just not working for me.
these last few weeks, you ever have a weekend that you work so much, then you go to work to get a break?
Yeah, you want to go back to work just so you can rest.
That's how the last couple of weekends have been. Yeah, so but it'll be worth it. It'll be worth it in the end. So
it'll be good. So we wanted to hear about some new stuff that's coming close to us, which we're happy about. But for anybody that's unfamiliar with you, can you tell us a little bit about your history, your service, like how you got into shooting? Just kind of give us a Tommy in 2 minutes.
Yes. So for anybody that doesn't know me, I'm Tommy Goodson. I live in Aiken, South Carolina, which is right on the Savannah River, border of South Carolina and Georgia. But I'm originally from Los Angeles, born and raised in LA, Southern California. I moved around a lot. When I was younger, I grew up in like foster care system and boys' homes and things like that. So, which is a whole nother story. But at 18, 19, I knew I was kind of going down the kind of wrong path, if you will. So kind of statistically I was going right where statistics said I should. But one day I woke up and said, you know, this isn't for me. I want something different. And I walked in the recruiter's office and it took a long time. That guy worked his butt off trying to get all my high school transcripts from all over Southern California compiled. It took him 6 months to get my package ready to even send in. But that's what I did. I went in the Marine Corps recruiter's office and I left and I never looked back. So I did. I take that back. I went back one time and you know, I couldn't find much of anybody. The one guy I found, he was pretty strung out, and I started asking about different people, and most people were either dead, in prison, strung out, or like me, they just disappeared. And I was probably on that list of people who were there one day and gone the next. So yeah, I went in the military, and you know, I wasn't ever homesick. I jumped in with both feet. I gave it everything I got. I kind of made it my lifestyle, and I went in the infantry, 0311. But I always wanted to progress. I never felt satisfied with where I was at. I always want to take things to the next level. So with that being said, first deployment, I tried to go like force reconnaissance. That's where I wanted to end up. For whatever reason, our company first sergeant would not let anybody on the first deployment sign up for the indoctrination. I had a lot of buddies that signed up, tried out, went. For whatever reason, the few in my company couldn't do it. So anyway, the sniper and doc came up next, and again, I wanted to progress. I wanted to just get better and better at what I was doing. So I signed up, passed the sniper indoctrination, went to sniper school, passed, became a sniper team leader, deployed again, and that time I was looking at now maybe trying to transfer over into more of a reconnaissance element. me and another guy got contacted from the school and asked if we would be interested in coming back as instructors. So that's the route I went. And we got back from that deployment and I went back to the school, and that's where I finished out, was at the Marine Corps Scout Sniper School, one of the Marine Corps Scout Sniper schools. So that's my childhood and military in 2 minutes.
So how did you get into, I mean, I know you were a sniper and you were shooting, long range precision with that, obviously, but there's a lot of people that are in sniper school and don't transition over to PRS. So what got you into the competitive side?
So when I got out, I did not touch a bolt action rifle for a lot of years. And I started doing some security type work. I got into some specialized like SWAT type of security work at a remote site in Nevada. And it's probably 5 or 6 years after I was out, we had sniper rifles there, and I picked one up and looked through it, and it just, everything came back to me, and it just felt like home again. I don't know why I didn't get into it. Like as soon as I left the military, I can't explain it. I just, I hung it up for a few years, and I don't know, as soon as I got one back in my hand, I loved it. So I shot more on the tactical side again. And a few years ago, now I've moved over here, a buddy of mine said, hey, I want to sign up for this match. I don't know anybody else I would want as a partner. Would you do this with me? It's called Mammoth Sniper Competition. I'm sure you're familiar with it. And I said, yeah, let's do it. That looks like it'll suck a lot. And and it did. But yeah, that was my first competitive match, and it's very different. The sniper matches are I don't know, I guess they're kind of based more tactical than the PRS is, but that just kind of lit a fire in me on the competitive side. And then I started looking for matches, and I was always a day late on registering, or I would see a match and it just happened. So it was hard to get in front of it. And the guys from Accurate Ordnance, they used to host a small PRS style match. It wasn't sanctioned, but that got me my foot in the door. And I met Mark from Accurate Ordnance, Woody, all those Accurate Ordnance guys from that team. Very, very good ambassadors of the sport. Still friends with a lot of those guys to this day. But that was Brandon Zielinski at that time. That was how my kind of intro into PRS. And I'll tell you, the first year coming into it, having the background I had, I don't want to say I was cocky, but I was confident, and I got my butt whipped. Like it is, it was a humbling experience, and it's very different. The tactical side and the competitive side are very different. However, with that being said, as an instructor, I would take, because I've been an instructor for 15 years outside the military with snipers and long range precision riflemen. The road, there's two separate roads, the tactical and the competitive, but a lot of times they get pretty close together. And I would bring some of the techniques and some of the equipment to the tactical side, and it would blow their minds on how stable they could actually get in some of these alternate positions. And being a competitive shooter, or actually being a sniper in the military, I think gave me a stronger foundation walking into the competitive world. And I think the same applies. Like one will make you better at the other. I don't expect a military or law enforcement sniper to go out there and do extremely well at the game. Just like I don't expect somebody that plays the game to be able to go out there and be inserted and land nav and find a target and sit there for 48 hours on target and all the other things that snipers do other than shoot. You know what I mean? So they're two very different worlds. Although, like I said, the roads get close sometimes. Now there are, and I'm kind of rambling here, but there are some guys on the East Coast here that I know from active military guys that do compete, and those guys are good. And I'm thinking back, man, when I was in that billet, like the guys that are in there now, their skill level is way beyond what we ever dreamed was possible. So I think the competitive world really makes the other side stronger. Now, a lot of those guys will complain like, hey, it's just a game. It's not this and that. It is. And I agree with that. But it will also make you it'll make you much stronger at the other world, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think
That's
so.
true. And
I
I
think,
think if many of us ever tried to go and be snipers, we would get our tails beat at that because, yeah. I
Yeah,
just
you're
think,
not allowed to vape when you're doing the snipey thing.
You got to swallow it.
oh my word.
Yeah. I hope that answers your question. I know it was a long-winded answer, but that was it. Mammoth sniper competitions where I started, and it planted the seed of getting out there and competing. And I loved it. I loved setting up. I was a sniper instructor for 15 years, almost 15 years with kind of a government agency that here in South Carolina, and I love taking things that I'd see at matches and taking them there. And I would work on different things though, because I knew who the good shooters were, and I knew who the physically fit guys were. But what I didn't know was who can operate under mental stress. So a lot of the stages or the scenarios I would come up with, the shots were never hard. A little bit of physical fitness, but the mind, I would task the mind with something that they had to recall later. And then, so they're trying to multitask on a few different things. And then I'm in their ear the whole time telling them, hey, you got to hurry, you got to hurry, you got to hurry. If I had flashbangs, which I always did, I would throw a few of those just to kind of shock them. And then at the very end, I'd say, okay, now debrief me on what it was, and see, you'd be surprised at who can operate under mental stress and keep it together and who can't. And that's what I really needed to know being in that role that I was in. And it's not always the person that you think it's going to be, but it was a lot of fun. So I tried to take some PRS stuff, take it there. And even now I try to take some of that from the tactical world. I'm not trying to make a sniper competition. It's going to be a PRS match, but I try to get a little bit in there where you have to think a little bit as well. Nothing gimmicky or hokey, but just a little bit of thought.
I like the thinking stages. So outside of instruction, what made you want to start hosting matches? Was it that you didn't see something that you wanted to try? Was it you wanted your own flavor of thing? Because it's not everyone that picks up the match director hat and just kind of like runs with it.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't plan on it. I didn't ask for it. It was just kind of one of those. I did it at work. I used to set up a lot of scenarios, and 15 years into it, I got to be one of the senior guys there, and whether it was a handgun rifle, training scenario, or machine gun course, or something to do with the snipers, and we did a lot of close quarter stuff. We ate full shoot house with, we could breach in there, we could ballistic breach, we can do all kinds of stuff in there. So training, just setting up training scenarios is kind of where it started. And then as far as the match, I would teach a little bit outside of work, usually basic precision rifle stuff for beginners that wanted to get into it. But that kind of evolved, and I had a couple of really good shooting partners, and you guys, I know Greg and Jennifer know Heidi, and she was always out here on Fridays, and so I would just set up my own little training things and stages, and then I'd run her through them, or anybody else that would listen. I would run them through there, and then that's kind of what it evolved into. Was I just started setting up these stages, and anybody that wanted to come practice could come practice. So it was just stuff I was already shooting to get ready, and then it's a passion, and I just wanted to share that with other people that shared the same passion. So.
I took your class.
Yeah, that was. They're all different. They're all fun, and every class has its own personality, and it's never know who you're going to meet there. Did you do the GTI? Yeah, you didn't do the GTI.
No, it was just out at David's.
Okay, yeah, that
It
was
was a little small. It was me and Heidi and maybe one other person.
yeah, I think it was. I can't remember who.
But I loved your instruction style because you gave like the fundamentals and the why behind it and some instruction. And then it was like, okay, but you need to do it how it works for you. Like
Yeah.
you were very big on these are the fundamentals you need to do, but you've also got to find your way to do it. It wasn't like, no, you must crank your neck this way and stand this, something that doesn't work for us.
Yeah.
Which I really liked. Are you
I'm
still
unorthodox in a couple of things too, but I always try to teach, this is textbook and try to do this. And if you find that it just doesn't work, I see a lot of weird stuff. And I had one guy that always shot all kinds of canted but he hammered. There was nothing to fix. You know what I mean? So I wasn't going to go fix his body or fix this because he got the results that we were looking for. So,
are you still teaching classes?
not so much. I just, I find the matches, and I think it's just more rewarding to me to see that fellowship with the matches. And I may get back to it, but I did that for a lot of years, and doing the matches is a little bit new and fresh for me. So I think I'm going to do that. All my time is either shooting or running matches now. I really haven't been doing any classes.
Well, if you do another one, I might have a student for you.
Okay. The GTI ones are fun because it is high angle and we do go up 10 stories and we can shoot straight down. And I can put targets out to about 1,500. I don't. I usually only put them to about 800 because there's some wicked, tricky wind with the updrafts and everything else. And I don't want to put anything out there that's people aren't going to hit. So yeah. 800 is a pretty good shot with those conditions. So.
Yeah, my husband may get into shooting, and so we want to. I mean, he's shot guns before, but he's never done the long range stuff. So
bring him out, plant the seed. It's a cheap hobby.
Yeah, don't tell him that.
Don't ever tell my wife how much some of this stuff costs.
Yeah, our worst fear is that we're gonna die and our spouse is gonna sell our guns for what we told them it cost.
Exactly.
Yeah, we don't want her to find out about that expensive $500 scope behind you, right?
Yeah, that I think I got that one for. I got a good deal on that one for.
Oh, nice. You'll have to pass that link over to me.
You might be listening. You never know. So Corey, you're out of Texas?
Yeah, Texas, College Station.
Man, I want to go shoot some matches out there. I really do.
Come on. Your match is April 8th, right?
It is. It's okay. Coming up quick.
So end of April, 29th and 30th is ours. So come on.
And where's that at?
College Station.
College. I've heard, yeah.
Yeah. So if you know where Houston is, it's about an hour and a half northwest of there.
Yeah, I've been through that. Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll have a crawfish boil.
Yes. Texas is so big, man. That I-10 from what is that, El Paso to Baymont?
Oh, I hate I-10. Yeah. I've taken 10 all the way out to Florida before multiple times.
You know the drive.
I'm done. Yeah. 20 is better.
Yep. So Tommy, Q Pro Defense said that he'll take your class, and also he knows why you didn't get into PRS when you first EAS'd from the Marine Corps, and that's because PRS didn't actually exist back then. It was so long ago.
He just called me old. I could read between the lines.
He did so very nicely.
When I had my musket, I was yeah, no.
Yeah, that's is that why they're much better shooters now? They got rifling in the barrels.
Yeah, that's probably why.
Hey, Greg, it looks like you missed someone from Diane Goodson. She is listening.
Damn it.
Good night.
Yeah. Well, moving right along.
Phil D asked about your nest course.
Who's that?
Phil D.
Hey, Phil.
Phil D was in it. I think he was in one of the first ones. If it's the Phil D I'm thinking of.
It is probably.
Yeah. That was that's a fun class, man. It's out at GTI Government Training Institute right here in our backyard, and you never know what level of experience is going to show up. So I always start with the fundamentals, the basics. we go over that because you can never hear that too much. We go out 0, get chronoed. And then the class kind of dictates its own pace on the level of the audience. But then we go out and we true everybody's gun. And Chris Walker did a really good job of building a bunch of props. I don't know if you've ever been out there, but there's a rooftop position, there's tank traps, there's a PRS barricade, there's cattle gates, there's all kinds of stuff. And so we work on positions there. And day 2, we go up to the rooftop, and you can shoot prone up there, but we don't. We shoot all positional stuff. They can shoot prone later. We teach the proper prone on day 1. We hammer it pretty good, but and then usually at the very end we do a round robin up there, and then at the very end we kind of open up the range and run either some little mock matches or mock stages, or some command fire, some more on the tactical side, just some cool stuff, and we just kind of open it up to like the last 30 minutes or so. We just kind of free range it, and me and Chris just become spotters at that point and help these guys get on target or go through the Kestrel. That's the other thing. Chris teaches an awesome Kestrel class. They're more than welcome to use their own ballistic engines or ballistic calculators, but they do get a Kestrel for the class. Kestrel was kind enough to give us 10 of them for training purposes. So everybody goes through the Kestrel and learns it that day for 2 days. Chris lets them take it home, play with it, whatever. We've always gotten them all back. So yeah, it's a good ran course, and the facility is it's good. We make the most out of it. What's there? There's nowhere else like it. I'll say that.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
It's definitely the most unique place that I have ever shot a gun at in my life.
Have you done the Guardians and stuff out there?
I've worked them. I think the only time I shot out there was when Brandon ran his 22 match.
Okay.
But I had a lot of fun working the Guardian out there and going, setting it up and blowing up cars and other fun stuff.
Yes. I really want, and that's the other thing, I've been chasing this PRS thing for a few years and really wanted to get, see how far I could go with it. And I haven't even been shooting 2-day matches. My daughter's dance schedule is, I've only got her for a couple more years. So I'm either at a dance recital, a dance competition, dance, my whole life is ballet and jazz and whatever, all the different dance. She's at the studio right now, but I've only got her for a couple more years. So that's really where my focus is around her. And then I shoot when I can. And then I do the match stuff when I can. But the first schedule I look at is hers.
You do a little dancing on the side yourself, don't you?
I do quite a bit. I can cut a rug. I know you were a ballet mistress because I've seen pictures of you at the studio. Yep, the exact same studio, as a matter of fact.
That's right. It's a small world.
It is. I didn't even know it was you at first. I'm looking, I'm like, God, is that Jennifer? I took a picture and sent it to you. I'm like, hey, is this you?
He said, you, and I was like, a couple of lifetimes ago, yes.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I know we've touched on it little bits here and there so far, but the main thing we're here to talk about today is a very special match that you're going to be running soon. Why don't you give us a little bit of a rundown on this match and what kind of the coolest thing about it is?
Okay. So I'll back up a little bit. I've been running these matches at the little camp that I shoot at, that I train at in Edgeville. And it's a cool little place. Not real little, he's got a lot of land out there, but it's a cool spot. We're very fortunate to have it. Very fortunate that he lets us shoot out there like we do. We were able to build a bunch of props. So I started running just a small series, club matches there. They're not PRS or anything, but they're very PRS style. In fact, a lot of the Southeast shooters come there. And I always schedule it in between major matches. So just a place to come practice and fellowship and hang out. And it's just really weird how things happen because people start asking me, hey, have you been to the Clinton House? Have you been to the Clinton House? And I keep saying, no, I need to get out there. I really need to get out there. I've heard good things. I know they run matches, but they weren't PRS matches, and I was chasing the points, you know. So anyway, again, it came up again. People are asking me. I was like, no, I need to get out there. Well, a couple of those guys that are from there were going to these matches, and I didn't even know it. And Mike Sexton was one of them that came out there, and you know, he approached me and said, hey, you know, we're going to do this thing out there. We got a new area we're looking at. We want to run PRS matches. We want them sanctioned, and we really like what you do here. We'd like you to do these. And I can't even express how humbled I was at that. And I'm thinking, okay, well, what the hell do I do? But most of the matches I put on out there, they're very beginner friendly in that they're welcome to new shooters. And I tell people all the time, if you got a gun and ammo and a little bit of data, just show up. We're going to get you through the rest. So I'm a big supporter of, hey, a guy's on a stage, you know, when he finishes, show him a better technique. If he's new, get on there, show him a better technique, let him take another couple shots just so he can see it, experience it. I don't care if somebody's working with somebody on the side, showing them how to use a bag on another prop, you know, they got the flags in, whatever. You can see if it works or doesn't work by what the reticle tells you. And that's what this was. It was more, it was think of the gap grind, you know, new shooters, but we weren't in a hurry. We had the time. We kind of limited to 30 shooters out there, 10-man squads or 10 shooter squads. And we try to work with newer shooters, and people would come with gear and they would sell it, you know, to the new shooters. Some people would give it away. So it was very new shooter welcoming. Now the targets, I'm notorious for putting hard targets up because I would just put up stuff that I practice on, and I practice on things smaller than what you'll typically find at a match. So I've kind of found a balance now where before, like, I mean, some of those targets were pretty damn small. So anyway, fast forward, Clinton House, people from the Clinton House approached me and said, hey, we really like the way you present, you know, yourself, the sport. And I was blown away. So with that being said, went out, we looked at the Clinton House. There's a 240-yard firing line that we have. So you figure every 24 yards, there's a stage. So it's just, there's not a lot of walking, and I feel like it's adequate space, so they're not right on top of each other either, because that can get a little distracting when you're hearing buzzers and impacts all over the place. So I think it's adequate space and without a long walk. You know, I love Alabama. That hill sucks, but I love it. I mean, they put on an awesome match, awesome place, and I won't let it stop me from going there. K&M, nothing compares to K&M, but you will walk. But that's a small price to pay for such an awesome an experience out there. But this is just one spot. I didn't want a whole lot of, and they do have a lot of areas out there that we could use, but now you're looking at a few hundred yards or trying to shuttle people back and forth. You don't want a bunch of POV, you know, personal vehicles driving up and down. You kind of want a place where everybody can park, get out, shoot their 10 stages, put their stuff back in the vehicle and be done. And they have that out there. It's a new area. So if you've ever been out there, this is a brand new area. They have been doing a ton of work out there, clearing it, setting up props. I've been out there every weekend designing stages. And I will say this, and if I'm wrong, somebody correct me, but this is the very first PRS match in South Carolina. And I am excited that it's finally here. I think it shows that we needed it because this match sold out in, I don't know, a week, 2 weeks. I don't know. It seemed like it sold out really, really quick. So we've already got 100 shooters. I don't want to go more than 10 shooters on the first one, because if there's any bugs, I want to find them and iron them out. But I think the match flow will go smooth. So we might go, if we get 10 on the waiting list, we might go add one per squad, and so they're even at 11. I won't go beyond 11. But yeah, very first match in South Carolina. super, super excited that it's here. Really excited to be part of it. Really bummed I can't shoot it.
I can.
Yeah, and you will.
Yes,
So,
I'm excited for that.
yeah.
So at the facility, do you know, I know they do a lot of different kind of matches out at Clinton House. Do you know some of the other things they do out there?
Yes, so 3-gun is all over the place out there. And I'm not a 3-gunner. I shot a lot of carbine. I did a lot of I was on a shooting team at work, but it was all, you know, carbine and handgun. A lot was done with the gas mask on. But the 3-gun I know is huge out there. I think they run some USPSA stuff out there. They just finished a DMR match out there, which is a sniper match. I'm not sure where there were snipers at. Anyway, they just finished that this last weekend. And then, and maybe you know about this, the Gathering. Have you heard of the Gathering?
Mm-hmm.
What is that exactly?
So it's basically a big, well, imagine a mini SHOT Show range day that's open to the public. It's hosted by Palmetto State Armory, and they try and get a bunch of media and everything out there for just kind of a little mini range day. So
Yeah, I think it's a big deal. So that's coming up on the 25th, the weekend of the 25th. So that's like right now.
yep. Oh, Sniper Bill said don't forget about the PRS 22.
Yes, and I'm getting to that. I'm not forgetting you. But Clinton House, so all those matches, right? You got handgun, you got 3-gun, you've got DMR matches, and they've got a ton of hunting. Like I mean, it's a hunting plantation. They probably do more hunting than they do matches. So anybody interested in hunting anything can probably go on the Clinton House website. And thank you, Tony. And if you're interested in that, I know they have memberships there. So if you're interested, need a place to shoot, they also have 1,000-yard range, a lane. And so if you need a true rifle or anything, that's the place to do it. It's like 100-yard increments starting at 300 all the way out to 1,000. And then they also have the mile club. So they have a mile shot there, and they'll work with you. Mike will work with you. They were out there the other day, and they were all shooting a mile. I haven't shot it there yet, but I don't know if my little 6mm will reach out there, but
Yeah.
maybe we'll be able to.
Mike did it with a 223.
What?
Yeah. So that's a garbage excuse, sir.
All right, well. Did
You
it
shot
hit
a mile
sideways?
with 223 or 1,000?
I swear he posted that he shot a mile with a 223. And most people, I'd just be like, belong.
Mike did, but I thought you were saying you did. I was like, when did you do?
No.
Yeah,
No.
Mike is people. Mike is, if you're in South Carolina and you want to do something, that is the place to go.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
has
I am blown away by the facility and what they offer and what they're putting into it. Like we were just talking before we started, how MPA, Eric, every time I go out there, he's put so much into it. And it's such a joy to go back there and see what he's done next. And it's always a different place than the time before, because he puts so much work into it and improves on it so much. And that's that's the feeling I'm getting from the Clinton House. I go out there on the weekends, and every time I get there, I'm like, holy crap, you guys have been busy, you know, with backhoes and skid steers and all this other. I mean, there's like serious heavy equipment out there. I was going to post a video of us moving some of these boulders and things with this big track hoe and a diesel dump truck. And I mean, I don't even know where they get all this equipment, but it's there and it's being put to use for this match. So it's cool to be a part of it.
It is cool. So I have a few more questions, but wanted to, before I lose it in the comments for one thing, wanted to kind of share what Tony Muni has put in there. He said that the truth about Tommy Goodson is he's an ambassador of the sport with nothing but the highest respect for inclusion of everyone present, being a beginner, fighting frustration of gear and my own inabilities, all while he gives words of encouragement and explains what he sees calmly and with a smile. And I got to say, that's exactly the Tommy that I know also, because I've been shooting with you, what, gosh, 3 or 4 years at least. Gone to many matches. The first time I ever used a tripod was because you were like, come on, just try it. You can use mine, just try it as a rear
I do
support.
not sound that country, but go ahead.
I don't care. I do, so I'm doing my Tommy impression with my Southern accent.
You know, I
cleaned that stage though. I was scared to
it
use the
worked.
tripod.
It worked. And I now that you said that, I do remember. I can't remember where it was. I don't see all of that, but I do remember you doing well with it. And
Is
you
it
know,
in people? You talk me into it, but you're like that all the time. You loan your gear, you give pointers, but you are just fun to shoot with because you're always in a good mood, even when I'm
Well,
not.
Yeah,
I
I'd agree
appreciate
with
that. And I just have such a passion for this, and I assume everybody else does, and it's just such a good time. To even a bad day out there is still better than doing something else. And the other thing is, and I see it a lot in the on the work side and some on the match side too. You know, everybody starts somewhere. So like a new shooter, it's not that you're better than anybody else. It's just you've had more exposure to it. You know, you put a computer in front of me or something like that, and I'm totally lost. Like, you know, everybody has what skills they have because of time and exposure. And I've had a lot of exposure to this, and I've been fortunate, I feel, in the right place at the right time to be where I was. And yeah, so new shooters, I mean, there's nothing to say that I can't teach a guy his very first day in, 5 years, he's on the top of the world winning the golden bullet. You just never know where somebody's going to go, but everybody has to start somewhere. And the newer shooters, it doesn't make you any better or worse than anybody. You got to leave your ego at the door, leave that stuff at home, and just treat people with respect and try to make a good learning environment. And that's the other thing. Like, people learn at different rates and different ways, I guess. So being able to read somebody and what they respond to and what they don't. And I was really bad at the beginning. Like, I would be really intense about things like, hey, got to get in there, got to do that, really intense. Well, that intensity brings tension. And now you got a guy in there just all tensed up. So I think having more of a mellow tone, being relaxed with your presentation, just kind of breeds relaxation, which is going to transition into a better performance. So hopefully that made sense.
It does. So your match at the Clinton house, is it going to be, I have to miss it because my sister's getting married, and like, that's a good excuse. I can't.
You got to be there. No, you got to be with your sister's wedding.
I got to be in Charleston for my sister's wedding, so I got to miss it. So are there going to be other ones that I can get to, or is this a one-time thing?
Nope, it is not a one-time thing. And yes, you can get to other ones. So here's the deal. We have April 8th locked in. We have other dates in mind. And I've been dealing with Andy Slade, who is the Atlantic Coast Regional Director. And I know he's busy with that. I know he's been shooting a ton, and he's been shooting great. He's been doing matches all over the place. So I'm still trying to coordinate with him and locking in. We want to do 4 regional matches this year. So we got April. The other thing is, I'm looking at the Atlantic Coast, and I don't want to step on anybody else's match. So I'm looking at their dates. And then because we're butted right up on the Southeast, I'm looking at MPA, Alabama, everything in the Southeast region that's close. Okay, I want to stay away from. Plus, I want to shoot those matches. We got Coleman's Creek right here, which is North Carolina, but everything in the Southeast that's within 5 or 6 hours, I'm trying to stay off of those dates. And it's really tough. Like, June is completely booked up. Like, we can't get a day in June. Even Coleman's Creek is doing Sunday matches, which, I kind of want to stay away from the Sundays if I can. But I see why they did it, because, where else are you going to put it? So we're working right now for at least 2 more regional matches. We're trying to lock in the dates with PRS and get those approved. We have some dates. I got to get approval from the regional director. And hopefully by then, any bugs will be worked out. And by then, so right now we'll have 10 stages. Now we can go back and this year start putting stuff in between. And then once we get 20 stages ready to go, next season, we would like to run a couple, regional matches and then run a spring and a fall 2-day match, a Pro Series match.
I was going to ask you that, what your goal is. Are you working up 2 days?
100%, yes.
So
That is the goal. Yeah.
I'm gonna have 4 2-days within 2 hours of my house.
And our region needed that, like in a bad way. Now I got guys coming from Tennessee, from Atlanta, for that little match I do that it isn't even worth points. They just like to come shoot it. And I enjoy their company. The camp also has a really good vibe to it.
Mhm.
The landowner goes out there, he cooks for everybody, and it's a really, really pleasant experience. And I hope the Clinton House, I have a feeling it's going to have the same vibe to it. The landowner is going to be out there. He'll be cooking lunch for everybody. Again, there's going to be a lot of new shooters. I know a lot of Clinton House members are doing it, and this might be their very first match. So I want to keep that beginner friendly vibe to it. Not saying that all the targets are going to be easy, but I want the beginner friendly welcoming vibe to it, where people are helping each other get better. Does that make sense?
That's super important. That's one of the big things that I think you'll get people coming back, because no one likes getting kicked in the teeth their first match. And if you have a good time coming out the first time, you'll have your friend come out the next time, and then his friend come out, and you'll see a group of guys that, they start 5 years ago maybe, and now they're winning your matches. And it's all because that first time someone helped them, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I really like that.
Sean, and I'm assuming it's Sean of Sean and Annie, but Sean and Annie Downey says that Tommy Goodson is the reason he got into PRS and why he's always broke.
For my service. So Sean, I love Sean to death, man. I was scrolling through Facebook one day, and I hate Facebook, but I stay on there for all the shooting stuff and the memes. Some of the military pages post some funny memes, but there's like a South Carolina long range page or something. I've never posted in it, never seen it, but I'm scrolling and said, hey, does anybody in South Carolina teach long range classes? So I sent him a message. I said, yeah, I do. Where are you at? He said, Myrtle Beach. I said, well, he couldn't be farther away, but yeah, I do teach. He said, well, when's your next class? I said, I have no idea. Nothing's on the schedule, but if something pops up or I put something together, I'll try to remember to reach out to you. And I did. Next class came up. I was like, man, there was somebody that I said I was going to message, and I found him. I sent him a message, and that guy's been coming. Him and Scott, and I can't say enough about both of those guys. With who they are, what they do, and just again, these are the people you want at these matches to welcome, to make it grow. Yeah, he started coming to that camp match, and they showed up with really good gear. He shot my foundation. He's like, next time I saw him, he had the foundation. He's like, well, thank you for making me spend more money. But it's just one of those things. And I'm more than willing to share anything I have with anybody. And everybody has their own little what works best for them. So I'm not going to try to shove anything down anybody's throat, because there's a lot of things, and everybody's eyes are different. So glass, everybody's body's different. So stocks, everything is very unique to each person. But yeah, Sean's good people, and I feel fortunate to have met him. It was just
So
by
if somebody,
chance. What's up?
if somebody wants to watch and kind of keep an eye out for any of these matches upcoming, where's the best place to do that? The Clinton House website or PRS website? Like, where's the best place to get information so that they can get their foot in the door before it sells out next time?
Okay, so
Us, them is really me.
yeah, there's probably a better answer than this, and you guys definitely chime in. So most of the matches, like the camp matches, non-PRS, they're just kind of practice fun matches. I just post them on Facebook and say, hey, we're going to have this is the next date. Registration will go live on such and such a date. Those things, man, it blows me away. They sell out in like, I go to bed, I open it at like, or the guy that does the website opens it at 8 o'clock. I go to bed at 9 because I'm old. But when I wake up, it's sold out. Like I can't believe it. So that Facebook, the other one would be the PRS website, because the Clinton House match is in the Atlantic Coast schedule. And I'm hoping that when the other 2 or 3 get approved, we're going to put those in there as soon as we can. So they'll be on the PRS website. If you go in the Atlantic Coast, they should come up. Anything other than that, I really don't know. I mean, Facebook is kind of it's kind of one of those love-hate things. Yeah, I use it for this and the memes. But can you guys think of anything else that anywhere else?
So
I should be
I've
posting?
been meaning to tell you about this earlier. I need to teach you and Diana how to make a business Facebook page so that you have something that's not your personal Facebook and it's just a place just for, as Sniper Bill just dubbed it, the Tommy Bowl.
So yes, I'm glad he said that. So they do have 22 matches out there called the Taco Bowl, which is pretty cool name. And I don't know who it was. It might have been Bill, dubbed the center fire match as the Tommy Bowl, which has a little ring to it. It's funny, but I'm glad Bill chimed back in. So the Clinton House also is going to be doing 22 matches, PRS 22 matches, and not this first one. So not April 8th, but all the ones, the subsequent ones to follow. We're going to do center fire on Saturday, 22 on Sunday. And Bill will be the match director for the 22. So we're going to work together. We've done it like that. We've been working at the camp because he does the 22 matches at the camp. So we'll discuss, hey, I'm going to use this prop here or that prop there. So we can work together, and we're going to do the same thing at the Clinton House. So the people that do shoot both, they can come out, they can make a weekend of it. They can shoot their center fire on Friday, or I mean, Saturday rather. Well, they can shoot it on Friday too, because we'll have a tune-up day. Saturday, they can compete center fire. Sunday, they can compete 22. So we really need to get those dates locked in on the schedule so that he can start planning his 22 matches as well. And all the props will be there. So he's just got to put out the other steel.
Yeah, if you keep putting 100 shooters in the matches, it shouldn't be too hard to get your dates. One thing you can do is you can teach people how to follow a club and practice score. So not the search feature, but actually you can follow a club. So I pulled up the Clinton House 22 Club, Carolina Shooters Group, and you can actually see all their matches for the entire year.
There's a lot, isn't there a lot of matches at the Clinton House?
This is just the one group.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah.
So you said follow a club
On
Yes,
practice.
practice score.
on
Yep.
okay.
Yeah, so for us, it'd be like TX Precision matches. You can just see everything we've got. You'll have the same thing if you're running your signups to practice score.
Okay. And technology has passed me by a long time ago. So, some of that stuff I stumble my way through. I'll tell you what, I had no idea. My wife is, when I told her about this opportunity for the Clinton House, she was 100% on board. She's like, well, what can I do? And she, man, I could not do this without her, because she got into practice score. She actually, we've been wanting to do the camp matches that way anyway, but she dove in this thing with both feet. She learned practice score, and she's had some help to the guy down at MPA. She helped them for a match down there. Learned a lot from Jill. We had Christy Hembry on the phone a couple different times trying to walk her through it. It was all gibberish to me. I had no idea what they were talking about. Greg Cannon, thank you for all your help getting us through this. Just getting people registered and squatted and everything like that. She's nervous as heck about the scoring side of it. So we're going to use practice score for the next non-PRS camp match, just as a kind of a practice run to see how it all goes, which is this weekend. It's March 18th. And so we're going to use it for that. And, you know, she went out and she went, because Clinton House is like, well, we got Kindles, you know, you can use these. We got this, we got that. She went and bought 12 Kindles. She's like, if we're going to do this, I need it in my hands. I need to play with it. I need to learn it. We're going to do it right. So she went and bought 12 Kindles. That's one master, 10 for the match, and one extra in case something goes down. She bought all the charging stations. You think I spend money on guns? She's been spending money on Kindles. But yeah, she bought all the backup batteries. She put together these boxes that have a clipboard in there for the paper backup, the little shot, the hit counter clicker. We got some shot timers. I don't have all the shot timers. Personally, am going to borrow some of those. I've already got them locked on, but man, it's such an investment that nobody thinks of front. It really is. And I know, you know, but like if you're going to do it and you got 10 stages simultaneously, so that's 10 tablets, one is a backup, so that's 11 plus a master. Those shot timers are anything but cheap. And then, you know, even the clipboards and the little waterproof, you know, boxes for the stage boxes for everything to go in. It just all adds up. And then, you know, you throw in steel and, you know, we won't even talk about how much hooks and all those things are, but yeah, it's not something you can do overnight. That's for sure. But,
yeah, it adds up super quick. So we're about at the midpoint of the show. Remember, if you're watching us live on Facebook, ask any questions you may have in the comment section of the video. We'll ask it live on air. Other ways to catch us, you can check back on the Shooter's Mindset Facebook page. The video is all stay up there forever. Usually upload to all the podcast apps the night after the show. And then finally, everything is finally on the Shooter's Mindset YouTube page. Nice. Long weekend. Finish that. So all of our episodes up to now are on the Shooter's Mindset YouTube page. That's a great place to look all the way back to episode 1, the many moons ago, before any of the three of us were actually on the show. So that'll be fun.
You guys have been doing this a long time, haven't you?
Yeah.
This is 380 or something?
398.
Holy crap. Yeah, you've been doing this as long as I've known you guys.
Yeah, I've been doing it since 2015.
Yep.
Oh, but that was prior PRS, right? You were doing it for.
You're doing 3-gun and USPSA shows mostly at that time.
I had
and
no
then
idea.
I got into PRS, like all my contacts for PRS. So.
And I'll tell you, I've always liked the name of it because mindset was so huge in anything really, from the tactical side to the competitive side. Is I mean, what the mind can do and what you can tap into, and you can get into the psychology behind getting into flow states and being able to pull yourself out to make conscious, to see things, and then make where you're operating on a subconscious level and then coming out of it to make things more of a conscious action, and then slipping back into a flow state where I mean, I've been in times where I watch my hands work and I'm a spectator. I can hear birds, I can hear people talking, I can hear a conversation, time slows down and everything is just perfect. And being able to recognize that and then being able to tap into it and use it to your advantage. There's some books written on flow state. If anybody's interested in that, there's quite a few books and some video seminars and things on it. And it's just amazing what the mindset and the mind can do it, and you can kind of steer it that way. And before we get too much farther, I do want to thank. So I did have an anonymous donor send me a package, and I do know who it is, but they want to remain anonymous. And he said, this is just to get you going, and it's just a bunch of gear that really I mean, I don't even know where he got all this stuff. There's a game changer, there's a fat bag, there's a bunch of those bag stops from was it Gray Ops that makes those. There's some Armageddon gear stuff. There was 5 shot timers in there, so that got me going. And I just want to say thank you, because you know, and that was just his way. He's like, hey, you know, I appreciate what you're doing for us and for the sport, and this is a way to say thank you. And you know, those shot timers, I mean, I couldn't, I mean, I can't even express the gratitude for those. And then the other stuff, you know, and here's my mind, I'm thinking, well, instead of throwing it out there as a prize table, I'm going to find a shooter who's new that's over there using the damn rice bag, you know, or then there's nothing wrong with that, but you know, there's a game changer in here. I want to see it go to the guy that needs it or the person that needs it. You know what I mean? As opposed to somebody that already has one, or you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that's the right thing to do, but that's just kind of how I feel. I'm gonna try to find somebody that can really need it, and then it'll go there.
I think
That's
a
always
great
the right thing to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Bill Jordan says, leave my old rice sock out of it.
it's on purpose, because if you get hungry, you can. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I've
snacks
used these,
aside.
stock, rice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So you kind of touched on what you want the kind of culture of your match to be, but every match director has kind of like a style and, you know, targets, positional prone. What do you think your match is going to be? What kind of flavor is that?
So, yes, I try to keep it fair and without being gimmicky. There's a line there where you want something. Everybody wants something a little bit different or whatever, but there's a line between it gets a little hokey. And as far as the fairness goes, and a lot of this stuff I didn't invent. I just seen somewhere else, and I'm plagiarizing the hell out of it, right? I seen something over here at, say, Pig River. I said, I like that. I really like, there's different skills, right? Some of them may be building and breaking positions. So you have 5 positions, right?
Yep.
So yeah, there's that skill. There's the long range skill where you're dealing with wind. I have 2 long range stages, and they're evenly spaced, right? Stage
Smart.
5, stage 10. So if you shoot one in the morning, you will shoot one in the afternoon. So
Yep.
nobody has an advantage over anybody else. So I wanted to keep that fair. That was one thing that I needed to see in there was 2 long range stages evenly spaced. I have some 5 position stuff. And then I have some other ones that are target identification or target acquisition. So there's a wide span. So you have to shoot, you know, here and then that one, and you have to search, find it, and then go back and hit this one and then move on. So I try to take something, whether it be a stressor or a skill, and implement in every stage. You know, there's a moving target system out there, so that in itself is a skill. There's KYL, so again, you're getting down to small targets, marksmanship, a little bit of wind call. It's not real far, but the target's small enough that you're going to have to hold some wind or you're going to miss. Then they've got the long range stages, and then so you got the troop line. We got a troop line out there, but then I've got one, and you'll see it might make more sense when you're there. It's like a skirmisher. So think of a tactical column or like a troop line, but you're looking at it from the flank. So you have a near, far, near, far, near, far.
Yeah.
You know, so you can dial it, but it just makes more sense to, you know, dial for 1, hold under, over, something like that. So I have a couple stages where it just makes more sense to hold. Now, nothing says, I didn't put in there that you cannot touch your scope. I have nothing against that, but it just made more sense to hold. So I was trying to get people to be able to practice that skill, practice target acquisition, practice long range, practice positions, practice mover. Again, whether they're tactical snipers, military, law enforcement, whatever, or just a competitor, you know, and this is a competition, but in my mind too, I'm just honing skills. Like these guys are coming out here, they're practicing for whatever to win at points, or in case they ever have to face this in a real life scenario, you know what I mean? Without getting too deep into the weeds of sniper versus the game, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And, you know, a lot of match directors they'll say, I'll never do a stage like that because it just doesn't work when they go and shoot it at another match. But I think the best stages sometimes come from something you see that works really well, and you just kind of tweak it a little bit, and you get these stages that become like really, really fun, but with just a little bit different flavor, and you can change it with like the smallest of tweaks to be awesome.
Yes.
And like, I know a whole bunch of very like active high level match directors that will literally take stages that they've shot from all over the country, and they'll just put them in their local match. And it's like, it's a totally different flavor because a guy across, the country in Tennessee or wherever designed it, and you wouldn't normally see it, but you're like, that was fun. That's
Yes.
something I haven't done before.
And I like exactly what you said. And that's kind of, there's some things that are original to me. And then there's some things that, Josh Bandy at Pig River, one of the stages or what I shot there, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I'm not ashamed to say, yeah, I mean, that's where this idea came from. Like, I didn't design it, he designed it, and I'm going to use it because it was a fun stage, and I want to share that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's a compliment to Josh, right? It's a compliment to, the good
awesome
stage.
person. This whole community, I mean, you have your 10%, but this whole PRS or shooting community as a whole is just, it's so welcoming, and it feels like home most of the time. And you see friends that you haven't seen in the off season, and it's very welcoming.
Yeah, definitely.
So in your
Did that
match,
answer your question?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
so kind of on the same line as, match director role and how you're accomplishing things, how do you provide value to the mid-pack shooter? So how do you make it where it's challenging enough if, Allison Zane were to show up at your match, but it's still doable enough that I can shoot it as a mid-pack shooter and still feel successful? Or even a beginner, if I were to bring a brand new shooter, a beginner, have them actually have fun, because nobody wants to go home not hitting anything. How do you kind of do that?
So that's the question, is how do you do that? And so what I've been doing, even at the little club matches that I have been doing, is I will look at every stage and look at the hit percentages overall for the match and each stage, and I'll start looking at, was this stage too hard? Were the targets too small? Things like that. So you start looking at, you want about, I don't know what the number would be. If everybody's shooting 2 on it, the stage is inappropriate. If everybody's cleaning it, it might be too easy, and you can have a couple of those. So people walk away feeling, if they make a minimal mistake, of course they may drop a point or two, but it's okay to have some of those easier stages in there. But for the mid-pack shooter, I think what's really important, especially for newer shooters, and this is more on a safety side of things, this first match is going to be 105 seconds. So it's a minute 45, and I think that is going to make people not feel so rushed. Now, some of the new shooters may still feel the time pressure, but it shouldn't be as bad. And here's my thing, from a competitive or from a tactical side. When I shoot a shot, I'm 100%. It has my name on it. I'm responsible for that bullet, where it goes, where it strikes. If I shoot a shot, I want to be able to stay on the glass, see that bullet impact, be able to measure it correct in my mind, and then move on to the next stage. If you're running 90 seconds, sometimes you have to abandon those bullets in flight. And I do not like doing that. I don't like to train my mind and my body to do that. There might be a time and place for it, but every shot I take, I am 100% responsible for. I want to see it land. Does that make sense? So with 105, I think you can take the shot, you can have good follow through, you can spot the shot, you can make your corrections, you can move to the next prop, next position, and do the same thing, and apply good fundamentals without feeling right. Even good shooters, at some point, I've shot stages where once I get my wind, okay, it's there. Now I just abandon every bullet in flight because there's no time to watch it. And,
Yeah,
and
I
I
think that's
don't,
a big deal for beginners, because the more seasoned shooters learn to call their shots. Whereas a lot of beginners are pulling the trigger and they've got to see where it goes to be able to adjust and correct and don't know, you know, they just can't call it. Where some of the guys that do this all the time, I mean, you're one of them, Tommy. I know that you can pull that trigger and you know where it's going before it hits. You don't have to see, you know, if you've pulled it one way or the other. I mean, outside of wind maybe being a variability, you know, you can pull the trigger and move.
Yeah, and I can and I do, and I don't. I would rather stay on there and spot it. You know, another thing though too is you're talking about the mid pack shooters or every shooter for that aspect. I know what the wind is at the camp. I can set the targets up appropriate. Clinton House has some wicked wind out there, so if I put everything out there at a minute and a half targets, it's going to be a rough day for everyone, even the top shooters. So I think the target size really, the typical weather conditions or the typical wind conditions should dictate the target size for the appropriate target size in some cases. So in this case, you know, some of those stages, especially the long range ones, I mean, you got to give them something that's hittable. Does that make sense? So, and I think we're doing a really good job with this. I don't think anybody's going to clean it, but is every target hittable? Absolutely. So if somebody cleans it, man, kudos on them, because sometimes the wind is tricky, especially when you get to the one particular side of the range. It just does weird stuff, and one shot may be different than the next, and you may see the impact, adjust, fire again, but by that time the wind has already changed. You know, you should have shot the same shot that you just missed, and sometimes it's like that, and is what it is. But yeah, I think the time that given that few extra seconds on the time will help the newer shooters. Having hittable targets out there will help everybody. Nobody should walk away not hitting anything from this. It's just, the targets are going to be hittable, but yet there'll be some challenges for even the seasoned people.
So how did we went through some nicknames earlier, but how did you get the nickname Hammer Time Tommy?
Hammer Time Tommy, from you actually. I got that from you and Jennifer. So and I hadn't heard that in a long time. I thought that one died, but I appreciate you bringing that back.
You still have the sticker on your car?
What's that?
You still have the sticker on your car?
No, I don't have that car anymore.
Oh,
somebody may have that sticker on that car, but it's not me. So we talked about it, but for anybody that don't know, I was at a match and I had all my practice ammo that I shot and it was shooting great. And then we get there for the tune-up day and none of my match ammo will chamber. It will, but I've got to beat the bolt forward. I've got to beat the bolt handle down, and I couldn't figure out what the heck was going on and why none of it would chamber. It was all loaded with the same dies. I just couldn't figure it out. And Tony Paskill was actually the one. He said, "Hey, do you wet tumble?" I said, "As a matter of fact, I just started." He goes, "Yeah, there's your problem right there." So nothing against wet tumbling because they come out really, really clean, really pretty. But if you do, you probably should chamfer and deburr every time. Because what had happened was, I think some of those steel pins had rolled the top of the bullet, the top of this here, rolled that down. And I've seen it happen to other people. And I've been in places where they're trying to file that burr off of there. I didn't have a file. What I had was a hammer. So I used my chamber to basically roll that back and resize my brass in a Airbnb the night before the match. Now, if you're going to do that, take the firing pin out, because that was advised to me by I was on the phone with my gunsmith and he said, if you're going to do that, take the firing pin out so you don't have surprise break, right, in your room. So I took the firing pin out and Tom Fuller actually loaned me a little hammer, and I hammered all my brass back into shape. Hence, there's a video out there somewhere, and she's probably trying to pull it up, but
She just commented on that. Yes.
what's that?
She just brought up that there was in fact a video.
Yeah, so I'm sitting in there tinkering away, pissed off at the world. But I was glad I had a working solution. And I hear her behind me talking, and I didn't even look up. I was pretty involved, but I didn't realize we had carried on a conversation for a little bit before I realized she was actually recording me doing it. So yeah, it's out there. And then this guy, right, Greg, he makes these stickers with a hammer. I'm colorblind, first off. What color was it?
At work, we call it hashtag Yeti Cooler, hashtag basic bitch blue.
So it was a pretty manly color, it sounds. So, and then the font, right? What was the font? Something to do with crayons, right?
I believe it was called I Eat Crayons was actually the name of the font.
I eat crayons, which I can neither confirm nor deny.
You are Marine, so
Yep. I think the R was backwards. Like it was like a child had drawn this, and it said hammer time. I used to have one on my tripod too. I don't have that tripod anymore. But yeah, Greg hooked me up with a bunch of stickers. So we went out to dinner, and we come out, and there is a sticker on the back of my window.
There's
my truck it looked pink to me, purple, whatever color it was, of this big hammer, and it said, did it say hammer time?
Hammer time, Tommy.
Yep.
Nice.
With some backward letters and all. It looked like a Marine wrote it, is what it looked like. So,
but also we got to bring up the point. The sticker was there after dinner, but you didn't notice it getting into your truck or out of your truck or loading the truck that morning to head to the range.
So at one time, I guess I was a trained observer, but not that day.
it was like 24 hours later before he noticed. He was like, "Who put that sticker on my car?"
Yeah.
So, I mean, with friends like that,
I know, right?
we could just roll right into the next one. If you were to pick one thing that contributes to the growth of the sport, what do you think that is?
Friends like me.
I think it's people being of service. You know what I mean? So just people got to leave their egos at home and try to help the next person. And then what's going to happen is when that person gets there, gets comfortable, gets better and better, what are they going to do? Hopefully they will culturalize that behavior and do that for the next person, right? Be of service to the new shooters. That's the future of the sport anyway. You know, the younger people coming in, whether it's youth or just even the new old people, it doesn't matter. Be kind, be welcoming, leave your fucking ego at home, and just help out. And that needs to be the culture, which I feel like it is the culture. Most places I go, and maybe most places I go, you got your 10%, you got your egos, you really do. But for the most part, I would say the majority, it's a good place, and that's, I think that is probably the biggest thing is, if you want this thing to grow, you have to have people come, and then you have to have people come back and bring other people with them, like what Corey had alluded to earlier.
I like it. Not just because I said it.
So what are your shooting goals for 2023? You've gotten to be quite an accomplished shooter. You've won some matches.
Yeah, I won some one-day matches, and so there was a year, I think the finale went out to, was it 20? I shot the finale in 2019, and so let me back up. 2018 was my first real year shooting, and not making the finale, you know, and I'm not trying to say anything, but I felt like I had a really good chance based on my background of making the finale. I did not, and that hurt my feelings. So that drove me to get better. So the next year, my goal was to make the finale. I made the finale, shot it at K&M. The following year, I think it was in Oklahoma.
The frozen one.
Yep, I had no desire to go to Oklahoma, so I focused on the regional. I said, well, let me see where I can end up in the regional. I think I went into the regional finale number 8. I came out number 6, somewhere right in there. So I was like, okay, now I've got some, I still have room to grow. I still have some goals to accomplish. The following year, I was out in New Mexico. I spent a lot of time in New Mexico. I didn't want to go back to New Mexico. So again, I didn't chase the 2-day stuff. I actually shot the Atlantic coast because I'm in the Atlantic coast, but all the matches were in the Southeast because South Carolina didn't have any matches. So I looked at the finale is what I did. And the finale was in Mississippi, 8 hours away versus Frontline, 4 hours away. So I shot the Atlantic coast and I did okay. I can't remember where I was sitting going into the finale. I tied for second at the finale, which was a 3-way tie. So I ended up fourth in the finale, and I think it was 4th in the region as well. So and it was by 1 point. I think it was by half a point outside of one of the regional trophies. So I think this year, I really want to have fun. I'm kind of switching gears to the match director thing, and that I was asked if I would do it. I want to do it. I want to be a part of it. I also still want to shoot. So I'm going to try to do all the MPAs. I want to support Coleman's Creek. So I want to shoot there. I want to support Frontline. I want to shoot there. I really like Pig River. It's getting a little bit outside of how far I want to drive for one day, but I'm going to see where I can do in the region again. I've shot one match so far. I won that. It was a great match, MPA. A lot of good shooters there. The gun shot great, and so I won that. So I guess my goal would be again just to see where I can be in the region when the dust settles. I can't remember where's the finale this year.
I don't remember.
The Pro Series?
It's in Kansas. They're doing it the same place. They're doing the Suppressed match, Medicine Lodge, if I remember right.
I would really like to get to Kansas, but I'll tell you again, the very first schedule I look at is my daughter's dance schedule. And based on that, I plan my schedule. So I don't think I'll be able to make it there. And I don't think I'm not going to be able to shoot a lot of 2 days, if any, this year anyway, with everything else going on. So I'm just going to focus on the regional stuff, have fun, and hopefully do my part in helping the sport grow a little bit, like with the Clinton House. And I can't say enough about the Clinton House for letting us, going to let us do what we love to do on their land. I'm really looking forward to it. And I'd like to publicly thank those guys for letting us come there and do it. So.
Yeah, definitely good people there.
Yeah.
We're getting a little hub down here in the Southeast. It's nice. It's very good to have them close by. So might have to back out there shooting again.
I'll give you the dates as soon as we got to relook at the calendar again, because I don't want to step on anybody else's match. I mean, that's not good for them. It's not good for us. It's not good for anybody. So so we're trying to kind of come in, I don't want to say mid-season, but the season's kind of been established. So we're trying to squeeze in where we can fit in. And again, if I did it on another day, half the people would be there. All they are. And I got some really good ROs for this match. Not that I was selective, but yeah, there's a few people that I said, hey, I know we're going to have a lot of new shooters. Would you mind ROing this? I know it's distracting. It can be. But would you mind doing this to help this match be successful? And nobody said no. So, and unless they couldn't do it, nobody said no, I'd rather just shoot it. If they were going, they volunteered to RO. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Very good times. So everybody needs to go, and if you're down in the Southeast, for sure, check out these matches. I think they're going to be exciting. It'll be really good. I'm bummed I'm missing the first one for sure because it's
Yeah.
so close. It's in our backyard and can't quite make it, but I'm gonna
There
make
will
some.
definitely be more, and yeah. So
Are we good on lives, guys?
Yeah, I think so.
I think we hit everything. Diane, check your messenger.
no, you didn't. Damn it.
She's married to you, so what's yours is hers. So yeah, she gets to have the video. So
Yeah,
if anyone else wants it, they'll have to ask Diane for it.
yeah. Well,
I texted it to you too, Tommy.
she is the gatekeeper. I can't, it just blows me away at how on board with this whole thing she is, and how quickly she's learning the practice score system. And she tries to show me stuff on there, and I'm just lost. I got video games down, but when it comes to computer stuff like I am, yeah, no, not my thing. And everybody has their strengths and weaknesses. So
She
I
said,
know what.
thanks, girl. That's blackmail material.
Damn it.
The best part is at the end of the video when he like realizes I'm video and he's like, oh.
I had no idea. I was just in my own little world, tapping away.
It's down there hammering. Well, I think that we can wind it down to shout outs. I know it's 9:23, and so it's after Tommy's bedtime because
Yeah.
he's an old man and goes to bed early.
Yeah.
We'll start with Corey.
I'll keep them short. I want to shout out the interns. We've got a couple guys from our college shooting club that help out a lot, and they are sending me pictures of them hunting. They're living the dream right now. So shout out to those guys. They got some meat on the ground.
Awesome. All right, Greg, how about you for shout outs?
We got GSL suppressors, shooters and sharpshooters of Augusta, PDC Custom, Shooters World. Big shout out, Hunters HD Gold. If you have horrible vision like I do, you need to own these. Then Fix It Sticks and Vortec.
Awesome. Tommy, you got any shout outs?
Yeah, I didn't know that was coming, but I don't want to miss anybody. So I just, my gunsmith L3 rifles is who chambers my rifles, and that gun is so predictable. I just want to thank him for what he does. And then, the people at the Clinton House and Camp David, all those people, and then everybody in the shooting community, really. I don't want to mention any names because then I'll leave names out, and I don't want to do that either. But everybody that I'm friends with, I just thank you for making this such a welcoming community. So.
It's a good place to be. I enjoy it too.
Yep.
Right. And for shout outs for me, I just want to shout you out, Tommy, for spending a couple of hours with us on your Tuesday night. I know you're really busy with dance schedule and your own shooting and trying to match direct.
I see what you did there.
And everything else. So we do appreciate you staying up late with us. And we appreciate everything that you're doing for the shooting sports and bringing a match to South Carolina, because that's huge, really, for those of us that are here in this area. I remember when I first got into it, the closest thing was, I think, 6 hours. So even for regional matches, there was nothing close by. So really appreciate you being willing. I know it takes a ton of time, and I know Diane is putting in a ton of time. So we appreciate y'all's family, bringing this to the Southeast. It's a wonderful thing. And then I always shout out my husband for putting up with me doing all these crazy things, and killing our Tuesday night. He got home, he's like, "You want to go eat dinner out?" And I was like, "Have the show." So shout out to him for letting me do all this craziness that I do. So, and with that, it will be a wrap for episode 398, and we'll see y'all next time.
Thank you very much for having me on.